third time I'm still talking about Ayn Rand at the movies. Okay. The one interesting thing about Ayn Rand has to do with gender issues. Considering the time period in which she was writing, and this is like in the 30s and 40s, she was remarkably progressive. Her heroines do not tend to be homemakers. Her heroine in We the Living was studying engineering. Her heroine in Atlas Shrugged ran a railroad company, and her heroine in The Fountainhead was a columnist who wrote reviews of homes and architecture. So Ayn Rand was definitely not the keep them barefoot and pregnant sort of lady. Okay, now people who are called feminists, and other people as well, not just feminists, have a problem with a scene in The Fountainhead. There's a couple things they tend to dislike about Ayn Rand. And one is the scene in The Fountainhead. Now, Phyllis Schlafly, who contributed a lot to conservatism, American conservatism, as did Ayn Rand, also had a problem with it. She was reading The Fountainhead. She got to this scene and she stopped reading it. She's kind of sad because it's a very fascinating book. It has a lot to say. It's very deep. It's very multi-layered. But she was offended by that scene and she stopped reading it. Okay. Now, the thing about the so-called, or what is generally called the rape scene in The Fountainhead, is that Ayn Rand wrote the character of Howard Rourke to represent a moral ideal. And to a large extent, he was based on her husband, Frank O'Connor. He was also, to some degree, based on Frank Lloyd Wright, an architect, a modernist architect. See, the thing that makes him a moral ideal, what are the things that make him a moral ideal? He will not compromise his architectural vision. He won't put in any doodads or gewgaws or whatever. He has to be all of a piece. He doesn't accept help from other people. He doesn't give help to other people. He's an individualist. He's a very dedicated individualist. He would rather work as a common laborer than design a building that was not faithful to his vision of what a building should be like. Okay. Now, the rape scene, or what's called the rape scene, it actually might not be a rape scene. But Ayn Rand has the heroine, Dominique Francois, call it rape. She also has her get very excited and enjoy the idea that she's been raped. She's a very privileged woman from a wealthy family, and she gets kind of excited at the idea that she's been defiled. Okay, a lot of people don't like that. Again, not just people who call themselves feminists. So there is a problem in there. Now, I'm not sure exactly how to reconcile the problem. That scene is kind of ambiguous in some ways. But, it's often read by teenagers who are trying to figure things out. And it seems to promote myths about rape, that women want to be raped, that they enjoy being raped, those sorts of things. Okay, but I do go into this at length here. I also talk about Ayn Rand's belief that no good woman would want to be president or the leader of a country. Okay, now considering how open she was to women in just every possible field, including those that were traditionally male fields, this is a little bit surprising to some people. But it is based on, and I go into it at length here, based on her belief that femininity is hero worship. And it would be a torture to a rational woman to be in a position of ruling all the men that she knows. Okay? Now, in my opinion, to some degree, what she's doing there is projecting her own emotional and sexual need to be dominated by her husband, Frank O'Connor, onto womanhood generally. Basically, it's instead of being rational, Ayn Rand prided herself on her rationality. It's to some degree an emotional